Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. I'm going to start putting together the front cover, the book for the Lazy Daisy sewing journal I've been working on. These are the signatures, and I'm going to go quickly through these later to make sure I don't need any more sewing done on them. And if I do, I will finish them up. But I really want to get these signatures in the book cover. So I have a little bit more to do, a little bit more embroidery to do on this cover. And I thought, maybe it would be fun to show you some of the embroidery techniques. And I'll see how that goes. But thanks for joining in. I first want to say that I want to welcome you back to my channel, and I want to thank you for subscribing and all your kind comments regarding this journal. So I've only made maybe 3 or 4 book covers, so I really have to take my time in doing this. And I wanted to show you my thought process as to how I have laid this out. This you can't see. You'll be able to see it after when I start to glue this down. This is I think it's a Bisquick box that I cut apart and I'm using for the book itself. And it is it's a little bit thinner than your traditional pasta boxes. So I have this, it's almost like a felt interfacing, and my mom has a huge roll of this in her craft bin. These I cut in particular for one of the pages inside the journal because I want to attach pins and other things. I bought these at Hobby Lobby the other day for the journal, and I bought these really cute safety pins, these decorative ones. So I have an idea in mind and I need this to use, but I'd like to make it a little more cushy, soft cover. So I'm going to cut a piece of this, and then I was going to sew it on to my cover, my exterior cover, and then glue it all down. I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't want any other top stitching on the side. But what I did want to show you was how I determine when you have a patchwork and I have all this embroidery, I wanted to show you how I did determine where the center was, and how I'm going to finish the embroidery, because I do have to take this off. I have to take this off to finish the embroidery. So what I did was, you can see here that from the center, this center tape measure here, I just went by the stitching on each side because I want that to be on the center of my spine. And I just followed the stitches here, and I pretty much lined this up. All right. Then what I had to keep doing before I put the pins in here, I'm going to move this one pin because every time I go to, and I'll tell you why I have these pins here the way I do. This is a long one. And I'm going to move these here. I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to move this one out. So I had to keep, I would put this down. As you can see, I have the ends taped here, and I had to keep making sure that it was somewhat in the center. I wanted to make, this isn't totally centered, as you can see. I wanted to make sure this little bit of embroidery was on the spine itself, and that this little pocket, the end of this was at the edge of the spine. And then this last rosette, I had a little bit of room here if I wanted to put a leaf up or down. So in order to do that, I had to keep playing with it. Once I got it taped down and I was happy with where I have this, and I also have this back doily, I really didn't want hanging over the edge too much. I had my embroidery up here that I had to make sure I wanted this not folded over, but at the top. Once I got it all situated, and it took me a little bit to figure it out, you know, reposition it where I wanted it. I then went and I put these pins in. So when I come back to put this all together, I can just line it up pretty much where the pins are, double check my measurements, and then I can adhere it and glue it down. So I wanted to show you that. And then now I'm going to take this off, which I can do here. I'm just going to loosen up the tape where I taped it down. I can actually remove it. This is the box that it will be going on. And this is where I will put, I'll cut a nice large piece that I can fold over. But I will put this on it, and this will give it a little bit more of a texture. I may actually double this. I'll see how soft I want it. So that will be in the second part of the completing of this book, the book cover. I'm just going to pop this tape off, and I'm going to leave the pins in while I do my embroidery. I do not want to take them out because it's all set. I know exactly where everything is. So I'm not going to be able to put an embroidery hoop in here. And I thought what I might do is just do some simple stitches along here. I don't know how much I'm going to do or I want to do. I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to gather my ribbons and my embroidery and my needles, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have I wanted to use 7mm green on, I want to make a few leaves here, and I can show you how to make a leaf or a petal for a flower. I think I'm going to use this green. I want to use a couple different shades, and I'm going to use that green because I think they will go the best with that. So let me get these undone. Get my basket over here. And I tuck this right inside so I know when I want to reorder. I have that. And I'm new to this ribbon embroidery, so sometimes I'm getting better at it because I seem to be doing it more and more often. So let's start with this one here, this color, this pretty green. And they do come in different widths. This is a 7, and I'll show you, I work with the 7 and the 4. I'm just going to snip this off because it's sticky on the end and it won't be good to. And I always cut when I'm working with ribbon embroidery, I always cut it at an angle. Come on, you son of a gun, you. Sticking to me. It won't go in my basket. There we go. I always cut it, you can see here, at an angle so it fits through the needle better. So this is the 7, and then this is the 4. I think you can see that, right? Let me just make sure. Yeah. So you can see the difference in the width of them. And again, it just depends on what you're making. Depends on how large you want them. This here, these petals on this Lazy Susan, this is 7mm. This is 7. This is 7. I just decided to use 7 on all of these, but they make a little bit larger, opposed to this is the 4. This is the 4. These flowers, these here are made with the 4. And I wanted the leaves, I didn't want to use a 4 on the leaves. I wanted the leaves to be a little bit bigger on these little roses. So, all right, so I'm going to cut a little bit of this. And when you thread your ribbon, hopefully I can get this up close. When you thread your ribbon, you have to knot it at the top and the bottom. Otherwise, this ribbon will fall right out. So when you knot the top to hold it onto the needle, you pass it through, and then you just take your needle and put it through the top part. And then you take that and you just pull it through so it makes a loop with a little knot. And then you just slide it up. All right, see how that's knotted around the eye of the needle? So now it won't go anywhere. And then the bottom, in order to make your knot so it doesn't go through the material, you wrap it around your forefinger, your first finger, and then you just go in, and then you bring it right back through. All right, just like that. And then you pull this through. And then you just pull this, you pull that down, and it's knotted at the bottom. So a petal or a leaf stitch, that's what I call it. I can actually tell you if I have my book up here, and I don't have my book, but I'll do another series on the embroidery, and I'll show you the book that I use. And I'm just kind of looking here to see if it's not up here, it's downstairs. And I can give you the exact names of the stitches. So I'm going to want to have, I think, maybe a couple leaves come up over here, and maybe a couple leaves come down here. So you just thread your ribbon through. And again, depending on the material that you use, because the ribbon is a little bit thicker, you just have to work it through. Then you're going to take, once you get your ribbon through, you're going to take it and you take your needle and you come underneath just to flatten it out and make sure it's nice and taut, or I guess flat. Then, however big you want your leaf, you just come back to a point. You bring it through. You come back through this way. You keep your thumb here just so it stays flat. Then you can kind of release it. And this is hard to do without an embroidery hoop. And then you bring it back just a little bit. So see how that curls at the end? It looks like a leaf that has a little curl on it. And then I will make a little shorter leaf. So you bring it up through carefully. And like I said, not working on an embroidery hoop, it makes it quite flimsy. And then you run your needle underneath, come down to however long you want it. Just trying to do this so you can, and then you try your best to keep it flat. This is curled a little bit, and then you just pull it. You don't pull it all the way through. You just leave it so there's a nice little curl there at the end. All right. So we've got, I'm going to put up just one little leaf down here just to balance it. I'm going to give it some slack again because I'm not using an embroidery hoop, and there's no, it's not taut. Then you're going to take this, again, you're going to take your needle, flatten that out as best you can. You're going to come through however long you want the leaf. Hopefully this one won't be too long. Just carefully, you just kind of have to wiggle it and bring it through because it is a little bit thicker. And you're just going to pull it a little bit. And you have your leaf on that side. And I'm going to leave that like that because I'm going to do, I might do 2 here and then 1 here. We'll see how it goes. And then when I tie my ribbon off, I will just come up around here and I just make a little knot like you're going to make a, and then I just make another little knot. I just kind of, and that's it. All right. So there's some leaves there. Could have made that one a little bit shorter. Like I said, not working on an embroidery hoop. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but I wanted to show you, and I just didn't want these pins in the way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use, let's see, we used this color. I'm going to go with a little bit. Where's the one? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I wanted that darker green. And I'm going to make the same style leaf on this rose here. I'm going to cut that right down because it's sticky from that tape. All right. And you also have to be fairly good at judging how much ribbon it's going to take, you know, to do what you want to do, especially on these longer runs. So again, you just feed your, let's see if there's a, let me put this here so maybe you can see it better against the white. You're going to feed this through. And then you're going to take your needle and put it right back through the ribbon here. That's a little too close to the top. I'll just pull that right through. Okay. All right. And you just pull this down. And you just feed it up. There. And then afterwards, you can snip this little bit off so it's easier to go through. And then to knot the bottom, remember you're going to wrap it around your finger. I'm going to take some of the bottom and then you're going to just loop it back like this. And then you will pull this through. And then you bring it down and you have your knot right there. All right, so I'm going to do the same stitch on this here. Whoops. So much easier when it's attached to an embroidery hoop. Okay. So you come up And then you take your needle, you just lay that, make sure it's flat. Then you're going to come down just a little bit, however long you want that leaf or that petal. You're going to go through. You're going to pull it. Keep your thumb there to try to keep it flat. And then you're just going to stop when it starts to curl. And then just make sure that when you do work with the ribbon, that you have it, you straighten it out, because it does have a tendency to curl. Okay, you're going to put your needle under it. Make sure it's flat. And then we'll have it right about there, that leaf. Hold on here, this pen fell out. I don't want to lose that. Keep your thumb there. Pull it through, keep your thumb, and then just gently pull it through, and there you have your second set of leaves. And then I'll make one up at this area, right up here. Because remember, we're going to be folding the material here, so I kind of want to stay away. All right. And because this is short, you don't have to worry about it. Just want to see which way I'd like to have this go. I'll just put it up here. This will be a short little leaf coming out. Okay, pull it through. And you're just going to see how that curls, and then you're going to stop. So there, we have leaves on the roses. And then we will tie this off here. And what I'm going to do is just feed this partly through the rose itself. And you have to be careful. Sometimes I actually get it in the material. And remember, this is not going to go, ribbon does not work well if you thread it or sew it through the ribbon. So you have to make sure you're under, and I just weave it through. I'm not going to knot this because it's a short piece. And that feels like I caught a little piece of ribbon, so I have to bring it back out. And I will try to do it around where I'm not actually catching it. There we go. Okay, so that is a stitch. That's a really nice stitch, like I said, to use on flowers such as this here. Then you can add your pearls and other threads, or if you're doing any type of petal or leaf. So I'm going to pause, and I'm going to finish, because I don't know what I'm going to do here yet. I'm going to go get my book. I'm going to finish this, and then we'll be back, and we will put the cover onto the Bisquick box. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I have this all stitched, and it came out fairly well. The one thing I didn't do, because I didn't want to make it tight, was on these seams here. Help if I get my lights on. Sorry, folks. On these seams here, I did not stitch across them. I left them open a little bit. And then that way, I didn't want it to be too tight at the folds. So, gosh, I probably didn't even have my lights on before. I had turned them off when I was doing the embroidery. So there's probably a section where I messed up and it's dark. So sorry about that. I can only multitask so much. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to clip a little tiny bit off. So the material, the cover will fit over this and will stick to the cardboard and not to the glue. Or stick to the cardboard and not the material. I hope it sticks to the glue. That'd be something if it didn't. And last week I was in Hobby Lobby. That's when I got the other little notions to put in this book. And I wanted to get some of those clips, sewing clips, and my cheapness won out. And I could have used them on this to clip this down. So I used these old, if you don't have the clips I'm referring to, they come in different colors. They are for sewing. If you don't have them and you have these little tiny paper clip style clamps, these work fine too. So I had those, but I didn't really need it. I thought, you know, the cardboard didn't slip and slide on this particular felt. So it worked out well. And I'm going to try something different. Normally when I glue my covers on, and the corners came out really nice, I kind of tucked them under as I was coming around. So I was sewing like this, and then when I got to here, I tucked this corner under here so it didn't jam up the needle or the machine. But I got out an old paintbrush, and I'm going to glue down, but I'm going to see if I can spread. I'm going to use the Fabric Fusion. It's either that or the Fabri-Tac. I normally use the Fabri-Tac. I guess this would be okay with this is fabric to fabric. Yeah, this is fabric to fabric too. I guess it doesn't really matter. This usually gets really gunked up, and I have a hard time with that. So I have my pins laid out like I showed you before. And I'm going to try to adhere to that, but because I have this, it's a little bit, I don't want to get my head in the, it's going to be a little bit wider. I have to come this way, I think, or this way a little bit. I'll make sure I get that. Yeah, more like that. I have to come down. I did these little pearl here. I have to come down just a little bit. All right. And this is where you really have to be patient and hope for the best. That, I got that. that and that. I guess that's okay there. I'd like to come down or go up. I have to go up a little bit. So there's the roses. Center. Okay, that's good. I think that's good there. All right, so I'm going to leave it right about here. And see, I have to just double check it one more time before I start gluing. Yep, okay. All right. So I guess we can take out, and this is where I get nervous. And I guess I just keep checking because see how far these pins are? These pins were right at the edge at one point. I have to come over a little bit. Okay. All right. I think that's good right there. All right. All right. So I'm going to cut the corners right here. And I just want to see how I'm going to take little snippets to start with. I don't want to get too close. I want to make sure that you can do it one of two ways. You can do it this way. Which I won't do. Come down. Yeah, we got to come a little bit closer. And this is where I really have to be careful because boy, after all this work, I do not want to get it all messed up, you know? I'm going to try, when I fold this over, to bring this down a little bit like that. Now there's a little bit more material there. I'm just so, I get so wigged out. That I'm going to mess it up big time after I've done all of this work. I'd be so upset. So I think I'm going to do one. I'm going to take this in sections just because it's making me nervous. Yeah, I'm going to just take it in sections. And I want this to come over quite a ways. I'm going to be putting, you know, the interior paper and stuff on. So I do want this to come over where I can pull it and play with it. I'm just going to have to. And this is where I really could use those clips. And maybe the Eileen's just won't work here. Maybe I will have to use my Fabri-Tac. Now we're just going to have to see. It doesn't look like it's going to. I don't know. Time will tell. Take this pin out before I ram my finger into it. And I could always paint some, which I probably will, some Fabri-Tac under this to keep it down as well. All right, I'm going to take these pins out here. All right, so that's good. Okay, and here. Here. I feel that migraine that I had yesterday morning coming back. Not really, I'm just being a smarty pants because of this, working with this. All right, so we have that side. And then we're going to fold this. I think if I just make a nice little, oh gosh, I really would like to use this, but boy, it makes a mess. I'm going to continue with the Eileen's. I'm going to continue with the Eileen's. I'm going to kind of come in a ways with that. All right, so let's get, maybe what I'll do is I'll run a bead here, and then I'll put the Fabri-Tac underneath onto the cardboard. And I might just have to play with these corners. For a little bit here. Yeah. There we go. Use my scissors to get that down. Yeah. Okay, and I'm only going to go to this part because I am going to have to cut that other corner. I'll just get this down here. And I'm going to take, as I contort my body, I'm going to hold that. So I guess I am going to have to bite the bullet and go get some of those sewing clips. And then this I'll have to let dry overnight. And then I can continue to work in the signatures. And if I have any last minute sewing in those, I can get that done. Okay. So far so good. All right. I'm just going to move, because I don't want that on my embroidery. right there like that. Okay. All right. So let me get these cut here, these corners. Make sure I'm not cutting into any embroidery. All right, okay, that'll be good. That'll be good. Okay. All right. So let's continue here. At least with the eyelines. And the eyelines glue, just when you use this, if you do use it, and if you do use it, you know, it really sticks to your fingers. But then all you got to do is go do a nice load of dishes, dinner dishes, in hot water, and it'll come right off. Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit more glue. I may not have added enough glue over onto this one here. Okay, there we go. And I think while I'm at it, I'm just going to add some more because that is sticking well. It's just, I didn't have enough. There we go. Okay. Let me get this down a little bit more. I'm going to put this clip here. Hopefully that won't stick to it. That won't glue itself down. All right. How we doing? Yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, good. Okay, that's good. All right, this side here now. I'm going to do the top part here. Okay. I think I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. I really don't like doing these things with people watching because I'm not that good at it, and it's a little nerve-wracking. Okay, so this here, I'm going to get this tucked in. And actually, let me see. Okay. All right, so we're going to get this tucked in and turned, and there we go. probably had a little bit too much material on the end here, but I can clip that off. I want to make sure that stays down. There we go. Okay, that. I'm gonna take this one off here. Yeah, this is gonna have to dry overnight. Because it's very wet. I just want to make sure that it really does stick down well. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. A couple bigger ones that I can stick right there like that. Just okay, and then this is the last corner, or the last end. So I'm going to turn it this way. I think we'll work from this side. All right. Okay. Put this one right here, just like that. That rose is there. Okay, and then I will put this one down, and I think we'll be good to go. We'll let this dry. Okay. Tuck this in to make a nice edge here. There. Okay. And I think maybe I might be able to take one of the clamps from the other side. And in actuality, I should have those wonderful clamps all the way around. But I will go get them when I run into there. I'm going to put that there like that. There. Okay, so that is on. Hi, Daisy. Daisy just came in to say hi. Hi, honey. Hi. I know. Okay, so we're going to let this dry. I'm going to take care of my fingers here, and we will continue working on this book cover, and we will get it all bound and the signatures in, and we'll be good to go. So all right, everybody, I'm gonna I'm going to end this video and then we'll start up with a new one to get the inside done. So that's the outside of the cover and we'll just continue on. All right, I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.